Hey everyone, this is Prehab Moto, and today we're going to talk about the spine. The spine consists of 24 vertebrae. It starts down at our sacrum, which when we're younger, our sacrum is actually their own vertebrae, and that's the bone. A lot of people associate it as the tailbone, but it's actually the bone above the tailbone being the coccyx, which is right underneath. But the sacrum is what attaches all of our vertebrae of our spine to our hips and our lower extremities. So the spine is broken up into three compartments. We have our cervical spine, which is mostly our neck, so that's vertebrae 1 through 7. Then we have our thoracic spine, which is our vertebrae 1 through 12. Below that is our lumbar, which is a lot of people are associated with the lumbar spine, and that is your 1 through 5. So those 24 vertebrae make up a lot of our height and also a chunk of our bones. Our rib cage also comes off of our spine there, and we have 12 ribs on each side which come off of the thoracic spine. The spine is capable of flexion, extension, and also rotation, which puts it into all three categories of planes of motion: sagittal plane, frontal plane, and also transverse plane. So without the spine moving properly, it hinders a lot of things. It can hinder the shoulders, it can hinder the hips, or vice versa. The shoulder can hinder the spine, and the hips can hinder the spine. Surrounding every bone is going to be a multitude of different muscles. Muscles move bone, bone doesn't move muscle. Therefore, we need to address the musculature that sits around our bones to actually understand how these things move and how they work. Of course, on the whole backside of our body, we have a bunch of different muscles that surround the spine, starting down at the hips, going all the way up to the top, that give us all those different types of motions of flexion, extension, side to side, and rotation, or sagittal plane, frontal plane, and transverse plane. So the spine is going to move in all three planes of motion, which gives us a lot of freedom of movement, but it shows the importance of why our core muscles, which is the full 360 strap of muscles from the front, side, and back, are so important. In the back of the body, we're dealing with muscles like the latissimus dorsi, which is a big muscle running from the lower back all the way up and actually attaching into our upper arm bone of the humerus. Then we have the longissimus, which runs one on each side of the spine up the back from the lower back and actually attaches into the back of our head. It's a very long muscle, hence the name. The quadratus lumborum is a very common muscle in the lower back that gives people issues. As motocross riders, we tend to feel our lower back quite a bit from standing up if it's been a while riding. So the QL is one of those muscles that we'll address with some exercises and also some stretching to help that out. It's called the QL, the quadratus lumborum, because it runs off of our pelvis and actually goes into our lumbar spine and attaches to the four vertebrae up, being quadratus lumborum. So a lot of muscles, their names make sense to what they do or where they run and everything of that sort, which is kind of nice. If we move more up the back, we get into common muscles that a lot of people are familiar with, our traps. Our traps, we have a lower trap, which sits about more mid-back, mid-trap, which sits in between our shoulder blades, and then the upper traps right here, which is also those stressful muscles that a lot of people feel. Those muscles are very important. We'll get to those. The rhomboids, which sit beneath the traps or more deep to the traps, to the spine, very important ones, help with the shoulder blades coming back. And then, of course, we get into all the musculature around the shoulder blades, which are back muscles, but they're also shoulder muscles. Front side of the body, if we want to flex our spine, we have to go to our abdomen, our rectus muscle in the front, which helps us to actually flex the rectus abdominis there. That would be our six-pack muscle, very important muscle. If we work in a little bit deeper, we go into the internal and external obliques, which those muscles are oblique or diagonal running muscles, which help us in our twisting. Failed to mention that QL is actually an oblique running muscle as well, so diagonal running, so it helps with a little bit of rotation, along with the lat actually at its origin being the start of the muscle is a little bit oblique itself. So a lot of muscles in there to help us twist, which is really important. It's a safe motion to be doing, and it's also a very strong motion to be doing. Continuing on that front side, we have the transverse abdominis, which is the innermost core muscle. That muscle is very important to helping us brace and protect the spine. So a strong transverse abdominis, we can achieve that through different exercises like the dead bug and everything like that. I'm going to break down more things as we go, of course, but this is more specifically just on that anatomy of the spine, and we'll get into some exercises.